Video game openings are endlessly iconic, from the God of War series, to Mario Galaxy, to Bayonetta, and to the topic of today, Sonic the Hedgehog. A good introduction to your game will make or break the rest of the experience. When starting a game, the developers have two main goals: teach the player the mechanics and fundamentals of the game, and serve as an elevator pitch for the game. Every great video game opening does these things. They strike the perfect balance between tutorialization and presenting the best the game has to offer. When those things are done well, you don't even really think about it. For example, God of War 2's fantastic opening surely doesn't feel like a tutorial. It's literally an hour-long boss fight, but it does a fantastic job teaching the player everything they need to know despite that. From combos, to magic, to dodge rolling, to puzzles, and to every type of chest, is all disguised under a duel against the statue of Helios. So, what does this have to do with Sonic? Because I think most would agree that Sonic games have fantastic openings. Sonic CD, Sonic Adventure, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Colors, and Shadow Generations all have some of the best openings in any platformer. Despite that, there are many exceptions, and I think one that is especially lackluster is Sonic Frontiers. Frontiers falls flat on its face during its opening minutes. From story to gameplay, it's pretty rough. So why is that? Well, let's break it down. Frontiers begins with a sort of teaser cutscene with Eggman attempting to tap into the Ancients' technology using this AI device. Things quickly go wrong though, and Eggman gets pulled into the cyberspace portal. This cutscene does an alright job of setting up some things for later, like Sage being this weird disc thing at first, the Ancients' robots and Giganto being in the background, and that the Ancients' memories are stored in cyberspace with the screams that we hear. The only real issue I have is the animation quality. Many of Frontiers' cutscenes look really good, and some not so much. Sadly, this one's just okay at best, and that's being a bit generous, especially after getting future games like Shadow Generations with its stellar animation. Then we get another cutscene showing Sonic, Tails, and Amy on their way to the Starfall Islands due to the Chaos Emeralds being drawn there. Then, as they're flying, a giant portal opens up in the sky and they all get sucked in. This cutscene is much better than the last and just generally has a fun vibe about it. Nothing crazy, but it does its job. I also just really like the whole title card thing. It's really cool.
J-Dub, I just found this. It was on my recommendation, dude.
Now, we finally get into gameplay. And it's just a 40-second long copy of Windmill Isle Act 1. Not only is this stage not very fun, it really doesn't teach you a whole lot. Sure, you have the hint bubbles, but these are so optional and easy to miss that they really don't add anything. While I don't think hint bubbles are a good way of teaching the player, at least games like Unleashed let you know about them better and encourage you to use them. Overall, this is just a terrible first impression, but it's so short that I can look past it. Once out of cyberspace, we get into the main open zone tutorial. This entire portion of the game is just not fun at all for a lot of reasons. One is that it stops you in your tracks nearly every 5 seconds with some giant pop-up to tell you how to do something. Take the training simulator, for example. This is a fine feature that plenty of games include. It's a great way of letting the player learn everything they want to know when they want to know it. This works well in a game with combat, since specific combos aren't really required for progression. They are simply there if you want to know them. Frontiers' training simulator doesn't work, since these mechanics are usually required to beat the game. I'm not kidding. Boosting, air boosting, stomping, drop dashing, wall running, and even the parry are never forcibly taught to you during this bit. The only way you figure out about any of these is on the island itself or in the training simulator, which yes, can sort of work, but it never ceases to shock me that the game never stops to tell you how to boost, but will force you to stop and learn how to move the camera. In any video game, there are two main ways of teaching the player something. First is the simple way, just directly telling the player. Whether that's through text or dialogue, it's just the game directly telling the player. Now, the other way the player can be taught is by guiding them to figure it out themselves, which is obviously much harder for a game to do. Being direct means everyone gets the idea very clearly and skips the risk of a player not understanding a mechanic, which a game like Bayonetta does very well. Letting the player figure it out themselves, though, is much more rewarding than just telling them, but it does run the risk of the player being a bit confused. Frontiers doesn't do either well. Half the things it tells me aren't very useful, and most of them require me to find something later in the game to fully grasp it, which gives it the benefits of neither method of tutorialization. I don't get the satisfaction of figuring it out myself, and I didn't come out of it with a solid understanding of it either. Even the story here isn't great. Sure, while a more somber and mysterious game can't be expected to have Sonic like facing Poseidon or something, I would expect it to also not be as boring as it is. With the Ancients being a race of aliens we later learn get wiped out by the end, it's kinda disappointing they took zero opportunity to tease it. Something along the lines of Bayonetta's title screen flashbacks would do wonders here. In fact, they already have the scenes needed to do it. Without context, these would have been very effective teasers that would encourage me to find out more. The closest we get to that is in the opening cutscene with Eggman, because we hear these brief screams of the Ancients. While this is a very nice touch, it's kinda easy to miss. If you want me to get invested into a game's idea, I'm gonna need something pretty tangible. Just saying Ancients and expecting me to be super invested is just not gonna cut it. There are so many ways they could have made this opening more interesting. From an opening teaser like Bayonetta, a tease of the end of the game like God of War 1, or just anything more than 2 okay at best cutscenes and a 15-minute long slog of an opening. Looking back on it, it's kinda impressive that the demo featuring this opening was as well received as it was. With how many issues this opening has, I think the love it got really speaks to the fun of what Frontiers offers. While this tutorial doesn't really show the best of the game, nor does it teach you well, it still found a way to capture people. Frontiers is like the definition of better than the sum of its parts. Even in a crappy tutorial, it still managed to invest people. So saying that, I do want to leave on a little bit of a positive note, because there is one aspect of this tutorial that was great. And that is obviously 1-2. Not only is this a good level, even though it's still copied level design, it had an incredibly challenging S rank, which really got people invested into the game. And I think that's kind of the irony of it. I think this opening has so many problems, but yet still managed to invest people because of a level that I don't believe had an intentionally difficult S rank. So, having said all of that, I do hope all of you have a fantastic rest of your day. God bless.